Hey, what's up, Hood News peeps? Today we are covering a missing persons case that still has not been solved. Somebody's been charged with a murder for a missing person, but she has not been found yet. And we are talking about the story of Deundrea Ford. I've got her uncle, Kevin Carrier, here with us today. How are you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing, Grizzy. Thank you for having me.
Man, friend, you know, like we heard about Deundrea. A flyer came in from the messenger, and a lot of people were sending it to me. They're like, Grizzy, there's this nice young lady named Deundrea Ford. She's missing. Can you help us? And I said, yeah, we'll post it. Send it to me. So we started posting. She went missing on September 21st, 2023. And she was off of East Freeway. Tell us about Deundrea, first of all. Tell us a little bit about and this is your niece.
That's correct. To this day, she has always been a loving soul, caring individual, a mother. She's been headstrong. She's been a leader, not a follower. She's always been intuitive, hardworking. And if anything else, she's been resilient. She's been through a lot, you know, as a child growing up, you know, losing her mother at a young age and, you know, becoming a mother of her own. You know, we're still in hopes of, you know, if not finding her, being able to put this situation to rest because, you know, besides me, her brother, her sisters, her son, her grandmother, you know, her dad, she has a family that still wants to know answers as well as myself. So it's bigger than me, and it's all about her at this time.
So, Kevin, roll us back to the day that you guys know. Like, when was the last time you had contact with Deundrea?
The last day that I had contact with Deundrea was a couple days before the actual day that she went missing.
Okay.
Text messages prior before that I seen her, you know, but outside of that she was doing pretty much well. She was actively in her daily routine, and you know, the only time that would be spur of the moment visit from her would be to see her son, or if she was around, you know, and she wanted to stop by and see the family.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to roll to the day that Deundrea was last seen, which was the September 21st, 2023. Deundrea worked at a sports lounge. It was like, in other words, she was working at a gentleman's club. She hadn't been working there for too long, as we know. You know, she was like still like, it was like the beginning, I guess. Like she wasn't really had been there for a long time or anything of the sort. Very beautiful young lady, very smart, driven, and she was there at the club when she was seen with a customer, and she was talking to this guy. And there's a lot of cameras that we have understanding. Did you get to see any of this footage?
I did.
What did you see?
I seen her interacting with a guy that was at the bar. You know, short, kind of chubby stature. I also seen another young lady that was in the video that looked at like she kind of introduced the two of them as if she knew the guy or if she had interacted with the guy in the past, and she kind of, you know, set the stage and made the acquaintance between them from what I seen in the video. And then from there, you know, that was pretty much it. There was no other provided footage from the inside or interior of the club by the club owners or anyone else.
So I'm going to read a little bit of an excerpt just to give people an idea. And this is off a post of the Hood News. This was 11 days later, right? It says, we are on day 11. Deundrea Ford has not been found. The family has conducted most of the footwork on their own, getting the details from the night Deundrea left with a male customer. She has not been seen or heard from since the night of 09/21/2023, which was a Thursday. Deundrea's uncle and we had conversations, and you stated that you saw the surveillance footage, which is what you shared with us. How she was talking to a male customer, and then there was a waitress also, and it appeared that he had a rapport with her. This guy was no stranger to the bar. So when Deundrea went missing and you guys are trying to piece together everything, no one was anybody really cooperative?
No one was cooperative. No one was forthcoming. No one was being honest, in my opinion. And for you to initially say that, well, the person that works that shift hasn't came in, or the girl in particular that we were asking about in the video, she hasn't come in, and then from that to no longer works here, or we can't contact her, we don't have numbers on our employee. I find that hard.
Yeah.
Hard to believe. You can't contact an employee. There's no application, sports bar or not, gentleman's club or not. It makes no sense.
Yeah. So what we understand that happened is that Deundrea was there. She was talking to the customer, so she was probably a little more at ease. The guy, like, he looks like just any guy, going into a place. He doesn't look harmful, or and nothing really sticks out about him when you look at the video. At first, you don't really see anything. It looks like he's just a guy that goes over there to the club and he's hanging out. At some point, she goes out into the parking lot with him. Can you tell us, what was happening that you understand? Was she in need of a ride, or was she waiting for somebody?
From my understanding, she was in need of a ride, but she was also attempting to make calls in order to see if someone could pick her up, which is why one of her best friends received the phone call from her at the time, which was the last phone call that she made to her friend Ariana, to see if she could come pick her up.
Yeah.
And from there, I would assume, which I'm not 100% on this, but to my conclusion from, the given factors, I would assume that at that time, with no success in finding a ride, that maybe she would have attempted to ask this person for a ride, and maybe, out of her comfort zone, maybe felt as if, okay, well, I'm really trying to get home, so, comfortable or not, let me go and ask, if this is a means of getting there.
Yeah. So we see surveillance video where she goes and she's in a van, and it's like a work van, right?
That's correct.
And they're sitting in the front seat, both of them. She's on the passenger side and this man is on the driver's side, and they're there for a while. So you could see the glow from the phone illuminating her face. Deundrea is sitting up, and you can tell she's on her phone, because even though the surveillance video is dark outside, the parking lot's pretty dark. There's not a lot of lighting.
You can see the lumens from the phone.
Yes, yes.
It's reflecting as well off the windshield of the van at that time. So you can kind of see that it was a phone that was clearly projected from the passenger.
Yes, and you can tell that she's working. You could tell that you could see the moment. You can't hear it, but you can see where she's trying to get a ride. And he waited with her too. They were there for a long time. Do you know about how long it was?
From the elapsed time in the footage, they were outside in the parking lot for a good maybe 30, 35 minutes.
Yeah, long enough. So it's not like he snatched her and took off. No, he was predatory about it. He waited. And Deundrea was not able to successfully get a ride. I don't think a lot of people were up at that time or who knows what was going on. HPD gets involved. We hear that the police report has been filed. We know she goes missing. The flyer finally goes up from HPD. What was your experience with that?
To this day, it's a bunch of mixed emotions when it comes to the whole dealing, the whole operation, and the whole investigation that was conducted when it came from Deundrea, from the initial phone call to let them know that she was missing, to the handling, the time frame that it took for them to assign someone to the case and for them to actually get out into the community. You were there as well as myself, and this was well over days after the fact before they even gave us any kind of information about them going to go knock. As a matter of fact, not being funny, you and people that you introduced me to, we were out combing the neighborhoods in the cul-de-sac before they even made an attempt to go out there. So that gives you a speck and a view of how behind they were in this investigation, how much time it took for them to actually put boots and feet on the ground and brass to the doors in order to try to, gain insight, footage, information, surveillance from anyone who could have had it. And another fun fact, we obtained just as much footage or maybe more than what they did from combing those areas and cul-de-sacs and neighborhoods, throughout that whole ordeal. So, it's for me, it's like, okay, and then handing over the majority of the information that we found in order to help them progress in their investigation, in order to be told, okay, we got it from here, but to get less information and progress. I felt like myself, my family, we as the initial point of contacts and people who responded, the initial responders in this case, I felt like we lost more traction by giving that up to them and letting them conduct their investigation instead of continuing what we were doing and trying to find comfort in them doing their job, and doing it at the best of their, their ability.
So there was this point after they leave, some sort of technology was used to track this van. This was off of I-10 East, this gentleman's club. They end up in the neighborhood of Songwood. That's somewhere off of I-10 Mercury area out that way. They end up in the Songwood neighborhood. We went out there. We went out there, and I remember it was a rainy day, and we were out there walking in the rain because her phone was pinged. Deundrea's phone, her cell phone, that location, like some street off of somewhere off in Songwood neighborhood, one of the first few streets when you go in. That work van was parked outside of a house for quite some time, and that was where her phone was last pinged. And we went out there.
Last location, yes,
we did. That was her last location. We went out there, and you were knocking on doors. You wanted to know. You even searched the grass to look for that phone. Tell us about that day.
It's kind of like another part of the jigsaw puzzle that you, as well as myself and others, got to experience that day. We knocked into no avail. We got no response. It took for, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it was the same day. I think it was the day after or 2 days after that HPD went out and they knocked. And supposedly they said that they got a response from the residents inside who said they didn't answer because they felt frightened because they saw people outside their home, in their yard and knocking at their door. I mean, that would be a means for me to answer my door to see what's going on.
And see, I remember when we went out there, I knocked on the same door of that residence because we didn't know exactly like which house they were at. And what I remember is when we walked up to the door, there was a slit in the screen. It looked like it had been a trap house.
Like a trap house.
Like a trap house. What's a trap house? A drug house. But it was a mother staying there with her kids. She had just moved in, and she was very afraid. She didn't know what was going on. She's like, why are people knocking on the door? But she said that there'd been a lot of traction. Like, people were still showing up. And she's like, she had to tell them, look, whoever lived here before me, they don't live here anymore. I remember, Kevin, when we were out there, every other house seemed to cooperate. There was one house, they gave us video, and you could see this commercial van, this work truck, this work van. And you could see that it was parked in front of that house. And it made a trail where it comes down the street. I don't even remember what the name of the street is. But some people were very cooperative. Others just weren't even trying to fork over anything. They weren't even trying to look. They weren't even trying to tell us that, oh, our cameras don't work. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to use my cameras. Yes, you do, because if you get robbed, you can go back and rewind. I'm sure you can.
Those same cameras are going to cover your insurance and your ass. But if some people, and that's what kind of, bothers me to this day, it's never a request or a need for help or aid until it's in their household where they experience the problem. And now you're crying out to the community for information and help. But, you have to think about it that you need to provide that same help and aid to someone in need if you can be of any assistance, It's not a daily thing that you're required to do, but it's a good deed to do,
Yes.
for the sake of families,
Yeah.
because that could easily be you, a day or two, a year from now, 10 years from now,
Exactly.
in that same situation, and who knows how hurtful it's going to be to you. And trust me, you're going to wish and need everyone that you can get information from, or help, or assistance, or aid from, in
Yeah.
order to make sure that you can find peace and resolution with your loved one.
I remember when this one little lady, like her and the grown children answered the door, and she's like, those cameras don't work. And I'm like, yes, they do. It's just blinked right now. It made the little chirping sound. And I thought to myself, I hope these people never are in this situation, because we literally had a team of like 7 people, and we were, hi there, my name is Grizzy. We're looking for a missing young lady by the name of Deundrea Ford. She was in this neighborhood last week. We're trying to find her. You see those people over there? Those are her family members. We're going door to door. Can you please help us? Some people were great. Other people didn't even want to open the door. They would crack it open just a little bit. Hey, no, our cameras don't work. I can't help you. I'm so sorry. Or straight up like, no. And that was very heartbreaking for that reaction. And I remember being very angry. How do you feel like the response was from the media in regards? Because let me tell you guys, man, media had a hindrance. They played a part in hindering what could have been like a huge effort to help find Deundrea faster, or to even find her, period. Because to this day, she has not been found. Media, tell us about that.
First of all, I want to give you, Brother Flores, Rochelle Turner from KPRC.
Oh, yeah.
I want to give you all your flowers for everything that you did as far as media-wise and investigative footage, information, and every step that you all took side by side with us throughout this process, Now, media, wow. I'm glad you said that. We need to speak on something that was done with Deundrea, and it's done daily in the media for the sake of ratings, for the sake of being tonight or today's talk, or wanting to meet a metric scale as far as with your sponsors, your company, whatever it is. I don't care. There's a big thing where they're criminalizing victims. No matter what a victim's situation is, or what may have happened in their past, or what they have done, or what you speculate could have happened, or what has happened recently. You should focus on what has happened right then, and the recovery effort, the search and rescue effort, in order to get those people home, because then you're exploiting that person for the sake of ratings.
Yeah. And in this situation, I'm going to read some things. It says dancer at bleep bleep sports bar in Houston missing, last seen getting into white van with a customer. Okay, then we see another one where it states that she's a witness to some sort of case.
Yeah,
and that kind of like made people think, oh, she's hiding.
No, so she was in. Those are 2 typos. First off, she was a waitress.
Okay. Let's get that clear, everybody.
At said sports bar, because I don't know if we're able to say the name. So for the sake of the show and the sake of the sports bar, we'll say said sports bar. She was actually a waitress there.
Okay.
And this was how I felt the media, and why I felt the media was clout chasing and story chasing for ratings at that time, because that incident had occurred months prior to that happening. And she wasn't even though she was a witness in what happened, she had no means of, testifying, because how can you give information that you wasn't privileged to, because you were in a car that was being shot at and you were ducked down.
Yeah. So there was an incident a few months before, and Deundrea was listed as some sort of witness, but the media got hold of that information, and automatically there were titles with that information, like their headlines with that info, and a lot of people started saying, oh, Well, she's not missing. There you go. She took off. Like, she doesn't want to be found. She doesn't want to be a witness. She doesn't want to be in trial. She doesn't want, and that took away, that robbed Deundrea's family. You, Kevin, the main uncle here, looking for her every day, like you were on your own quest. That robbed you of any kind of help, really. Like, we stood firm on it, like on the Hood News end and a lot of other smaller outlets. But the mainstream media had one job and one job only, and it was to help with this search for this beautiful girl.
And I'm sad to say, over 65% of what we would consider to be dedicated local news stations and local reporters and broadcasters and cameramen, they came into our household, you know, doing interviews with us intently with the knowledge of knowing that they were going to go back into their studios and use their footage and edit it into a story that we didn't sign off to, and, you know, make a narrative that they could control, that we had already advised that we wanted no doing with. You know, we were aware of the case and what happened, but that had nothing to do with that. And it soundly took away from the efforts, the support, the coming in of resources, organizations that could have stepped in and helped, you know, volunteers, nonprofits, you know, and even community people that could help, you know, community organizations that are around that help in situations like those. When you paint a narrative and a certain picture of a certain person, they feel like, okay, well, maybe they were in this lifestyle and such happened. You know, people start to assume and speculate.
Yes.
And that's what you force that. And you force that into the communities and into the households when you force stories or narratives on people's television screens. And not only that, when you have the moral obligation to think about what you're about to spread to the masses, and yet for the sake of something smaller than that person and something big to you, a rating, you know, you diminish any efforts that really could have been provided.
I remember this story just like suddenly taking like a back seat, and we're still like, hey, we gotta go look for her. You know, hey, we even went to parks nearby the Songwood neighborhood. There's 2 parks out there.
You and Brother Flores flew drones up.
Drones.
Yeah,
we walked around.
I remember it.
I remember coming across smells, and I'm like, oh my God. But we did not find her.
Just praying
it wasn't her. Yes, and I was like, oh my goodness, like. We had some scary moments out there, man, searching. So the neighborhood, the people that were willing to cooperate with footage gave us like pretty much like we established a trail. So they go down this road, then into another one, and that's the last image, I guess, seen on video.
Yeah,
and we can only assume that maybe a park or something. So we started scouting the nearby parks. To this day, Deundrea has not been found. But let's talk about this person now. We're going to give him a name. How did this Yolan Washington, this is a 51-year-old man, how did this name come up?
The name was originally given to us from the people on the inside of the club establishment. They said that he didn't present any identification that night, which only time I would see a club letting someone let someone in is if they are regular or they knew them or they've ID'd them before. So that was one of the
going
first
back
red
to
flags.
that, yeah,
going back to that. So secondly, they said that he used, remember, we recovered his name and information from a debit or credit card receipt from him buying drinks inside the club that night. So once again, you didn't have your ID, but you presented a debit or credit card, and they accepted that. They have to know you in order to do that. So that was another definite red flag. But yeah, this was days after we went back and forth with management. Actually, this could be like a week or so after that we were able to go up there and actually speak with them, get the name, and then, you know, start our own little search on who the individual was in order to find out that, you know, I think he was from New Jersey.
Okay.
You know,
so not even a Houstonian. This guy was in transit.
Yeah, he was in transit.
Yeah.
Come to find out, he was some kind of worker that I would assume does like shot driving
Okay.
or hauling and
Okay.
deliveries, which would be why he would be on this end. You know, apparently he must have knew people down here or he frequent the area because
Right.
you have an establishment that, you know, he felt comfortable in. People obviously knew him, you know, from those given factors and inside of the incident, you know, with him not being ID'd and the interaction that we seen clearly on the videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's too much to be coincidental, as I always
Yes.
say. But yeah, Mr. Washington, you know, was said to have fled back when apparently he left from Houston, and at that time, you know, it's assumed that he had Deundrea with him.
Okay.
You know, but prior to that, Mr. Yolan Washington had just had an incident, you know, in Dallas where he attempted the same thing with, you know, a young female at a club, and she got away, and she was able to actually report it because he attempted to rob her, and, you know, throughout the incident, and she escaped his custody or capture.
Wow. And this was before he came across Deundrea?
Yeah, this was before.
Wow.
And so this incident was one of the major milestones in how Dallas PD played to a major effect. One of the biggest roles in actually, you know, getting the man in custody and, you know, being able to get him, you know, charged with Deundrea's disappearance.
All right, so we see a mugshot here, and I'm going to read what was posted. This was January 14th, 2024. So she goes missing September 21st, 2023. Months later, we're going into a whole new year, Kevin. Your family's with anguish. You are out there on the boots on the ground, trying to find out, getting your own information, getting all the facts lined up. Helping, you're assisting initially, like you're assisting HPD, like the missing persons division, and now I believe that at some point there's homicide detectives involved in this, right?
That's right.
So I'm gonna read this. It says January 14th, 2024. It says charges have been filed against a suspect in the disappearance and presumed death of Deundrea Ford, and this was off of the 11900 block of East Freeway on September 22nd, 2023. The suspect, Yolan Washington, 51, is charged with murder in the 337th State District Court. He's currently in custody in Dallas County. I guess they got him out there. And a Dallas County jail booking photo of Washington is attached to this news release. The body of the victim, and that's Miss Deundrea Ford, has not been located at this time. And as of yet, Hood News peeps out there, she still has not been found. So we had the Homicide Division, Sergeant Montalvo and Detective Higgs, they reported on September 22nd, 2023, Ms. Ford left her place of work with an unknown male in a white Ford Transit van. Friends and family members were unable to make contact with her, and on September 23rd, she was reported missing. The HPD Missing Persons Unit and the HPD Homicide Division initiated an investigation into the incident. Further investigation and evidence identified Washington as the suspect in the case, and he was linked to Ford's death. Washington was arrested in Dallas, Texas on an unrelated charge, which is what we just talked about, in the Dallas County Jail awaiting extradition to Harris County. So, Kevin, what makes them think that she's deceased? What did they find?
So they found a lot of trace blood that they waited so late into the investigation, you know, to release to us. Supposedly there was a large amount of trace blood that he tried to clean up out of the van that I guess from forensic testing of the van, because from my knowledge, they originally had him in custody,
right?
And they released him. They told us this. Law enforcement told us this information because they had nothing solid to hold him on at that point.
So they questioned him like he was a person of interest.
He was a person of interest, and so what they did when they initially released him, they released him without his van and without his cell phones. But this was in Dallas. This wasn't in Houston.
Okay.
And so he went back east.
Okay.
You know, and Dallas ended up, I guess, sending marshals to where he
Okay.
was at in New Jersey. Once they got the forensic evidence back from the testing of the van, and they also had the warrant for the unrelated charge with the other young lady that I was speaking of earlier. And so, yeah, this is how they tied everything in. There was also matter of some type that they said that there was detected or recovered within the van, from forensics. So
Yeah.
they obviously had enough information to go off of to make that assumption, but at the same time, none of this information was privy to us prior to you
Yeah.
discovering it. And the biggest thing for me is that I don't think me and my family can 100% accurately rely on the information that was given to us, being by the misappropriation and handling of so many cases going on with HPD and their higher ups and the code situation that we didn't learn about until after all this information was brought to us, and the suspect was charged and they said they were closing the case. I don't feel like it was thoroughly investigated, because at this time we were right there, speaking to the assistant chief who was stepping down and telling me that I would be speaking to a commander moving forward until they place someone else, in place
Wow.
of, them, and wouldn't, explain to me why he was going on a trip to Hawaii, and
Wow.
he could tell me you're going on a trip to Hawaii, but you can't tell me what's going on with my niece. Like it was a hard slap to the face, and
Yeah.
it's like, where's the care? No matter what's going on with your organization internally,
Yeah.
where's the care? And come to find out, months after the fact, here we are with now media coverage and news breaking that over tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of cases
Yeah.
have been unresolved,
Man.
unsolved, and thrown on the back burner because of a criminal code that they had using within their filing system that could have your case or something that seriously went wrong that you reported to the Houston Police Department thrown out, or a matter that they don't even care about, because this code could file that case or that incident to where it's no longer an item for them.
Yeah, you guys were up against a lot of odds to even get any assistance in any of this. Let me ask you this. Have they told you? Okay, because I remember they bought in Deundrea's son for DNA, right? Like, how did y'all find out that was her DNA? Like, how'd that
It was
play?
through the non-informative phone call that they requested from us, because almost a week or so, or 2 weeks before we got the information back, without them sending the forensics van to the house, they called us into Macau so they can obtain a sample of his DNA, at that time. And so, it takes time for
No explanation or nothing.
DNA information to go out, be tested, and come back in. So at that time, there was information that you had that you didn't want to give to us, or make us knowledgeable of.
That just
And
even adds
so
to more
that
stress, no communication. Like, your heart drops. You're like, why do I need to do this?
And so the worst that we assumed that you told us not to be fearful of, you knew. You knew what you were requesting that information for, and, feeling that, giving us any kind of, resolve or any kind of heads up on, why you were requesting this, you more or less felt it was more threatening to your case or your investigation. I don't see how.
Yeah.
I mean, as I recall, I turned over pretty much everything that I knew and had, and I stepped aside. So, and me and my family, we did the same thing. So I just felt like we should have been privy to anything, because we were no longer out there canvassing or trying to find anything. We were allowing y'all to do y'all job.
And Kevin, where are we at today with this man, like him going to court? I know that's going to be a process too. I mean, without finding Deundrea, I mean, I'm scared about how this case could go.
The last update that actually came about his court date and anything court related once again, I hate to, throw this shade at Houston PD, but it came from you and not them. You called me. You were, and this was during the time I think we had the freeze.
Yeah.
This was during the time Houston was experiencing another freeze, and you were out there downtown. Hey, friend, where you at? I don't know if he's gonna show up today. I think they're gonna reset it, and I think that's actually what they ended up doing. I don't know if they were able to transport him from Dallas down here to actually do the court date. It may have been done, on the video court or digitally. However, they may have sought to do that, or they could have just changed the information. Felt like they didn't want the public privy to it, or didn't want a media or news spectacle behind it. I don't. It's for the people to assume.
Right.
But that was it. They haven't reached out to the family, to myself, to my mom, about anything since then. There have been no updates since the information of his arrest. The only thing that we find out is what the people find out, and that's when they find out. If it's a news article, a social media article, or if something becomes privy to a reporter or a news outlet, and they feel like, okay, well, let's run an update on this, which hasn't been done lately.
So nobody's contacted you from the media? Wow, I think about your niece all the time. No one
but you.
I called up Kevin. I said, Kevin, how would you feel? Because he's so strong, like it's not easy to bring in somebody, a family member of a deceased or a murder victim or somebody missing. It's not easy. I thought about it. I'm like, no, I need warriors, because you are a warrior. Like you have fought for her. Like you haven't even been able to grieve for your niece. And I see you now, friend. You're I don't know how you're doing it, but you just do. And I can tell it has changed you, because that is your baby girl, your niece. And so I was like, man, I got to call Kevin up here, man, because you are amazing. I got to tell you, like, everybody should want to have an Uncle Kevin, man, because, like, you, friend, you have gone above. I just want to start crying, but you have gone above and beyond in the rain, sleet, snow, going to dangerous places that are shady, that we don't even know if you're going to be all right, walking around. You have done all your footwork yourself, friend, and I think you are so amazing, and you have been on a journey, and we're going to ride with you till the wheels fall off, till we find out what happened to this man. Now, let me ask you this. Is he in Harris County custody? Or is he still in Dallas?
He's still in custody in Dallas, to my knowledge. And if there's anything that's going to happen, as far as, with him being charged, I don't know if Harris County would actually ever hold custody of him, because then it would be a state or federal charge. So anything that he's charged with Dallas and then with the Houston courts could be ran concurrent from Dallas. And so we don't know how that actual process is going to turn out. If we know he would have to come to Houston in order to stand before a judge, and, be charged and, be sentenced. So that's...
I'm going to start digging through that paperwork. Then I got to go look at the district clerk's office for that. I'm going to start looking it up, see if there's been any updates. I know it's a slow process. He just got charged back in January. We're in September. Unfortunately, the dice rolls real slow here. And it could be a while before we get any, like, notable updates. It's probably reset. I hope this man never gets out. For like all of this throughout, like I hope it doesn't post bail, because that's scary, and I hope he speaks on where she's at, like give us some information, give this man and his family. How was her mother, and how's the family? She's Deundrea, named after her dad.
Yeah,
right? How's he doing?
He's doing as good as he can, to have a daughter that's missing, still have other kids to tend to and to think about, grandkids, and some of us, life doesn't stop. You got to keep living, but there's a part of your life that has no closure, no security. It's just an ongoing loop, like being in a revolving door when it comes to her name, her whereabouts, her being accounted for, her her being home, you know, and whatever the sense of
that
home would be, you know, at this point, you know, just being home.
Yeah. How's her son?
Growing.
And does he have an understanding of anything?
Yeah, he was a very intuitive kid when this happened, and so it was more or less masking the information from him, and I hate to say it, keeping it away from him, because the minute that we said what needed to be said to him, he understood what those words were, and I just pray that, you know, his understanding will be forever something that he can grow off of, and, you know, not be a negative or a hindrance in his life, you know. If anything, you know, to know that he still has his other family around him, that he was forever loved by his mom. There's not a day that she wouldn't love him, that she doesn't love him, that she didn't love him. That was most definitely the first red flag.
Yeah, she's a good mother. Everybody said that over and over. She's not reckless in that way. She was a good mother. That fact that we don't know anything about her, we are terrified because this is not like her nor of her. Well, thank you so much for coming through, Kevin. Man, our prayers for you, friend. Like this is a journey, man. We're gonna ride with you, and like we think about her all the time. I'll get that random message, Grizzy, has there been any update in Deundrea Ford? And I'm like, no, nothing yet. So
I want to thank you because of the platform that you have, the exposure, and the amount of time that you spent with the full involvement since day one, since you first said, hey, family, hey, friend, hey, I know you're going through something. I would like to, you know, help you all locate this young lady. And from there, it's been a journey. You've been responsible for entities from Apple, you know, doing podcast stories and specials on her.
Good.
You know, and so this story has now spanned across so many outlets on so many different platforms that, you know, it's gonna be something that long term the media and the people are gonna want to know, you know, and want to have an answer for. And I think that enough time has passed now to where, you know, things should be in order within the house of the Houston Police Department. And so now you should go ahead and start assigning people, bringing in individuals, organizations, specialists who can evaluate, speak with this person, use tactics, use psychological techniques, whatever it is, to try to get some information or extract it out of your suspect that you're charging this with.
Maybe the district attorney too, at some point they might have to make some kind of negotiation with him. How do you feel about that? You know, the possibility that could be a thing, because without, like they say, nobody, no case. But I mean, they got enough evidence on him.
I'm this type of person. At age 51 right now, realistically, I mean, you take the death penalty off the table, come with 25 to life, and if he'll willingly accept 50, 60 years, I'm cool with that. Because you come out at 100, I mean, that's, but we want her. We want to know where she's at. I mean, you've done what you've done. I mean, there's still so many people that love her and miss her, you know. And, you know, who's to say, you know, maybe you go in and you don't come out. There are people that know my family and love that little girl that are everywhere. So, I mean, like, now it's a roll of the dice for him. But I would hope that he would want to grant the family that much closure, because he could be going through the same thing.
All right, Hood News Peeps, we're going to wrap it up here, but our prayers and condolences always with you. And we're constantly thinking about Deundrea, yourself, this great uncle, you know, that's been on this journey. We're going to always follow up, and he's always going to be part of our family here with the Hood News. And I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. And, you know, we'll stay tuned for more updates, you know, as they come. Hey, what's up with it, Hood News Peeps? It's your girl Grizzy, and it's the Come On Down with Mattress Mac. How are you doing, Mattress Mac?
Come on down, Grizzy. I'm doing good, but I'm mad at all these thugs that are wreaking havoc in our great city of Houston.
Oh, yeah, indeed. We got a bunch of videos for you today to check out. We want your thoughts on this. So the first one up, we've got 99 and Morton Road. This was at a gas station. We had a pregnant young lady, And her husband, he was pumping gas last night when some thugs decided they were going to try to sucker punch this man. That's the wife. She hears what's going on. She hears this commotion. She runs out of her vehicle to go help her man. And she's pregnant, by the way. And they start chasing these guys. And one of them runs back to their car. One of the suspects, he attempts to jump into the vehicle. He's going to try to jack it, and she stops him. There he is right there. He's trying to jump into her car. Just crazy stuff.
What's there to gain from jacking some guy when he's putting gas in his car? Come on, people. And you know what, Grizzy? I'm getting a lot of these haters contact me on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, saying I'm a snitch. Well, if I'm a snitch to these people that are causing havoc all over town, so be it. They need to go to some place where crime is rampant and leave us alone in H-Town, because we want to live a good, normal life and not have all this craziness on the Hood News. Every week it gets worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? Let me for those people talking about snitching is what they do when they turn state evidence against their co-defendants. What we do, we are concerned citizens. So the snitching is them. The thugs that get arrested, they tell on their friends to cut a plea deal. Those are the real snitches.
All we're doing is trying to make Houston a better place. Attacking these pregnant women, that is so wrong. What is wrong with you, pal? Go get a job. Get some self-respect. Yep. Do something with your life.
Exactly. All right, so then we got the next video. This happened out of Baytown. We got some people, and one of them's dressed with a J.J. Watt jersey, which I think is crazy. They go steal a package. But Mattress Mac, you know what? Wait till she pops open that trunk. Look at that trunk and how full it is of stolen merchandise.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And to think that they have any self-respect for themselves, stealing stuff off people's porches. The Houston, Texas aren't about that. So get that shirt off and just show your face so we can put you all in jail. Give me a break.
That's right.
That's the lowest of
yes.
That's right up there with the carjackers of the pregnant woman.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Packages undelivered, and they really get delivered. It just turns out that these folks are out there stealing everything.
And what do you want to be, little Mary, when you grow up? I want to be a porch pirate. Oh, we're so proud of you.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe it. Well, those two ladies have been identified. And let me tell you something, Mattress Mac. One of those women beat a murder case. Well, she didn't beat it. She was charged with murder. Her and some people were charged with murder. They gave her a 30-year probation, but then it got knocked down because she turned as a witness for the state, and they reduced it to like some time served or something along those lines. She's free, and this is how she chooses to do her time.
Okay, that's free. Great. Two things she needs to do. Number one, get a job. Number two, go to church every week and ask God for forgiveness and guidance.
That's right. All right, so this lady's cutting the grass. She's doing amazing work. You know, she's getting out there to do her cardio when all of a sudden she goes to inside the house to get a rag. And when she does that, we've got some bandits that come and steal the lawnmower from her home. There's the guy right there. He starts taking off.
Yeah, here comes Mr. Ambitious to steal a lawnmower. We're so proud of you. Yeah, come on down. Give yourself up and go to jail. Stealing the weed eater and the lawnmower. We know you're not going to use it. Where are you going to soak it at, pal?
Yeah, for $15 at the pawn shop. I mean, dang, that's messed up. Okay, so they just took off with the weed eater and the hose. Just crazy. The blower. Sad. All right, then we've got Southeast Houston. So this is unsportsmanlike conduct. This is what road rage, I guess, if you will. So a woman, she's not the best driver. The way she's trying to pull into the street, this guy loses it and starts chunking water bottles, and he broke the back windshield wiper of her car. There he is right there, look, yelling obscenities. And then he grabs trash from his car. He's got a lot of trash in his car. And he starts chunking bottles. And he threw like 3 bottles. So he's got a lot of trash in his car.
He's got a lot of rage in himself. He needs to get over it. All of us drive crazy at times. And I guess he's never pulled in front of somebody.
Yes, just horrible. Then he was on a dating website asking for any pretty ladies out of Houston. He doesn't know how to treat them.
Okay, yeah, let's hook up with him. What a winner.
Yes, there he is right there, Mr. Rage himself.
Mr. Rage throwing his trash at the lady who cut in front of him, as if none of us have ever done that before.
Yeah. Yes, friend. So tell us what's going on over at Gallery Furniture.
What's going on at Gallery Furniture is our tremendous September to Remember sale. You know, lots of customers are having to pay $300 to $500 to get furniture delivered, and then you got to wait 6 weeks, and they get a back order slip. At Gallery Furniture, you pay $0 for delivery in the Houston area. We deliver free today. We'll haul off your old furniture free, and we set it up exactly where you want it. So if you want great furniture today without a hassle, buy it today. Gallery Furniture delivers tonight. And the only person we're going to snitch on is the other store issuing those frustrating back order slips. They are screwing over the customers just like these thieves on Hood News are screwing over our community.
That's right, friend. Man, always a pleasure, Mattress Mac.
Nice to see you, Grizzy. Keep up the good news. We got to make Houston safe again.